Hello people, how are you doing?
That was an interesting way to say hello, but yeah. So Mike is going to be joining me. He's good for about 4 or 5 years now. It's been a long time, but
Yeah.
He's helped me with a lot of theories in the past as well. Looking into information, he was one of the first people who actually realized that the next game, Let's Go PIUK, Let's Go Eevee, were going to be a yellow type remake. He was one of the first people who discovered that, and actually, he did tweet that out back when, before people even knew Let's Go was the thing. So the man's been around for a long time now. He's helped me out a lot, theories and all that stuff. So he's going to be here today. I'm going to be covering PIUK. So I guess if you want to explain to them who is PIUK, Maikya, just give them a general rundown of who PIUK is and why we maybe should pay some attention to his old rumors that he left, at the earlier this year. So just give them a little bit of a rundown of that if you would not mind.
Yeah, so essentially PIUK was a leaker who came around, I think it was just before Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. It was kind of in the middle of Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon, somewhere around there. And he basically just gave us some kind of indication of what's coming up. And some of it was relevant and some of it actually came out to be fairly true. And other things we're still not sure about, but we're kind of understanding that they could be a possibility. They link quite a lot to a lot of things we've seen already, so it kind of makes sense, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
In essence,
But,
essentially.
Yeah, to put it bluntly, he had a lot of information, and this information, some of it seemed somewhat realistic. There was nobody who actually managed to debunk him, though. That was the biggest issue.
No, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That was the biggest issue with him, though. So here is the first piece of info that was posted by PIUK here. This first piece of info was posted under, just an anonymous name. He didn't, go under the name PIUK yet, but this is what he said, though. He says, "You guys don't believe leaks coming from Western countries. Trust me, at this stage here in Europe, we only get text for translations with no information on characters or the games themselves. The funny part is that they divide us in loads of little teams, so we can't understand what is going on in the main story. The only real leaks you'll get are from Asia, or after the games have been announced and the testers get the beta copies. The part I enjoy more of my job is when we actually see the parts of the script we can translate in the real game. Anyway, as we started on late December, I think it's a good guess to say the games will be announced soon. So keep strong just a little more." Now, the thing though is, the problem with PIUK's rumors was that we don't know what he was translating specifically, because it turns out right now, as you guys may have discovered, this is something we're going to talk about right now, because this is the main info right now. This is the first part, right? There's another part here, which we'll go into in a second after this one, but let's talk about this first, guys. So there's also other stuff that PIUK posted here. I think him responding to a few questions, but it's kind of hard to know exactly, what is from him and what is from somebody else, because it's a little bit hard for me to kind of, get my way through, this 4chan archive stuff.
Some of it's anonymous,
Yeah, everything's under anonymous on this one.
So we don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be way easier once we get to the next part, but this part we need to explain right here. So the really strange part about this is that he says he's a translator, right? And the thing with the current translation is there's something strange about the current translation that's going on, because the translators who essentially worked on Let's Go PIUK, Let's Go Eevee are still working for Nintendo and rather Game Freak. They're still working for Game Freak and doing translations. That's a strange part, because usually you'd phase those people out, you'll get new people in, or you just rehire the same people. Instead, their contracts are continuing, and they're continuing their work. Apparently, the translators have not stopped translating. They're still working on some sort of translation, but they're also hiring more translators in. So I don't know why, but this is just very strange. Why would you continue using the same people and, hire more people in? It just makes no sense unless the next game is going to be very big, so they need more people to help them out to translate the full thing, right? That would be the only reason I'd see them do that.
Possibly, yeah.
They need more people to help them out, which would make it so that if he was working for translations for Let's Go PIUK, Let's Go Eevee, then maybe he's also now working on translations for Generation 8. Now, again, this is all speculation for now, guys. Now, let's go over to the next part right here. Actually, no, before we do that, let's kind of discuss this a little bit, I guess, here, which, Mike, I want to know your opinion on this, dude, because in fairness, it's a really strange situation, dude. And you remember, you and me did a lot of research back in the day about the translators, and we found a lot of information about who's being hired and all that stuff. So let me know your thoughts on this, man.
So the interesting thing I know about translators for these games specifically, just in general, Pokemon games, I've found that they are all hired in London. They're all England-based in the London offices, and they're hired out by almost like an outsourced company of the Pokemon company. It's kind of like a contractor, and it's not really direct employment. And what's interesting is that even German, Spanish, all sorts, they're all based in the UK. But what I find interesting is that they're keeping the translators. Normally, like Ruffled said here, they just ditch them completely. Like, literally completely. After a game's done, they'll go, right, we don't want you guys. And I think that's mostly for leak protection, to be honest. Like you said, a lot of translators leak stuff. I mean, they can't in Europe, like PIUK said here. But in Asia, they do. And I've noticed a lot of the time they get rid of them, and every single game we see on the Game Freak Company website, there is advertisements for translators every single time. Like, no matter what, there's always localization careers going up all the time. And I think that's primarily due to literally the leak habitat. You know, how they're essentially, after a game's been made, or in the process of making one, they're leaking stuff. They're leaking translated text and that sort of thing. So that's the worry that Game Freak have, so they kind of protect themselves from that. But I think, like Ruffles said, this next big game is so big, I don't think they can risk losing translators. They're just hiring more. If that makes sense, if I've explained that right, then, you know, that's my thought, totally.
And most likely also, there probably wasn't enough stuff that actually came out, yeah. Because honestly, I mean, yeah, sure, Let's Go was leaked ahead of time. Sure,
yeah, definitely,
It's always going to happen very close to the release.
Oh, yeah.
Then again, Let's Go was released, kind of revealed, you know, a month or two, give or take 2 months ahead of time. Let's be fair. But
yeah.
still, I mean, like, you have games that get revealed, you know, way earlier than that, or you know,
months in advance. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you know, it's a very hard thing to really, you know, fully pin down. A lot of people will look at like leaks and rumors and all that stuff and be like, oh, this is fake, that is fake, right? And then when things end up being real, they're, you know, people just kind of like, you know, backtrack. And the thing is, you know, a lot of the time, these guys could be working on several things at the same time. And I mean, if they get something sent to them, that could be stuff that isn't just from Pokemon. That could also be stuff from, you know, the Pokemon. Oh, sorry, the Town game that's being made by Game Freak, right?
Totally.
It could be for Town. It could be for Pokemon Quest.
But they don't know. They don't know what it's for because they're not told.
Because you're not told exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You're just given this piece of text and you're told translate this, right? So I don't know. It's a very strange situation. But then again, I guess that's that for that part. Let's go to the next part, which would give us a bit more information here about this translation work that he does, which would be the next page here. And this is actually, you know, this contained an image actually, which I'll open up the image. It's very small though, just so you guys know, but there it is. He was showing his translation documents, which are very intriguing to me. So also here, PIUK is actually answering questions. Now I'll try to move my, you know, screen here. You guys can see this better, but PIUK was actually answering questions here. You know, people were asking him things like, okay, hey, you know, can you tell me like what part of the company do you work in and all that stuff. So I'll read through this information here first, and then we'll discuss it more. So let me start with this to begin with here. So scripts by PIUK posted on 4chan saying, hey, hi again, guys. A few days ago, I opened a thread in regards to the script translation for Pokemon Switch. We are currently working on the first bunch of scripts with the deadline approaching faster and faster. In a few days, I'm going to meet my team so we can come up with the final document to send to our project manager. Then, hopefully, we'll receive new scripts in late March. Attached, you can find some pages. Of course, I blacked out the text, but I think it is interesting for you to see how the whole thing works. On the top right, you can see that each page and translator's team has an ID.
Wow.
Whatever has an official or approved beta name in English or Italian for items is between squared brackets. Unknown Pokemon are just misses. In the second page, you can see the battle is going on. Known moves and a Pokemon get their Italian name in the script already. For a new move, we are free to suggest a translation, but of course, the final decision will not be up to us. I think they may just take some inspiration from us. If you're curious about how the translations teams work, just ask, even if you already discussed it in previous threads. So, people, of course, you know, start asking things here, and I guess
questions,
somebody here asks him, "Wait, didn't you say that you are translating Italian? Why do you have German address from Nintendo at the bottom?" And he says here, correct. Nintendo of Europe is our employer, and it coordinates the teams of Italian, Spanish, German, and French. You need to apply to the German offices in order to candidate yourself for a translation role. I explained the whole process in the previous thread, which he did do, because, you know, if you go back down here, he actually, you know, explains a lot of things. I mean, he goes through a lot of this stuff, but it's kind of hard to find it because, again, everything is known, you know, everybody goes under anon. It's very hard to know what's up. But he kind of gives a little bit of a, you know, explanation right here, you know, and this makes sense, right? Because you remember this, Ben, that we've heard about, like, you know, it was hinted at they was definitely working from the London offices, which we know that's where they are working from. And also remember that when they put out their hirings, they were hiring for people to work from London to translate the games into Italian, Spanish, German, and French.
Exactly, yeah. It's where it's kind of Nintendo Europe is, like you said, from the Germany basically. Nintendo Europe has its main offices for applying to stuff, but then the actual translation goes on in London, I believe, from what I know.
Yeah, as far as we know, and that's info that's like correct though, I would say, because we know for a fact that that's where they work from. Based on like real information from their hiring, and that's where they would, you know, be positioned, so to say. And this, again, these are the people that would then be translating Italian version, the Spanish version, German version, and French version, right? You'd be translating games into those versions. So it's really interesting to see, you know, how this all kind of makes sense with what's been happening recently as well. It's really strange, right? Because who would go this far to make a fake document, to make all the things we're going to cover
to share
in the next
with
video
people.
as well. There's a lot of stuff that he's done here that just goes an extra mile, which I don't see why he would do that. And we'll continue down here and see what's up with what else is being said here by PIUK. But somebody actually posted, this is actually a really interesting post right here. This guy said, this is not how professional translators work. They would be using CAT software like Trados and MemoQ so that translation entries can be stored and validated. CAT tools store translation confirmed into the project memory, and new text uploads are scanned for whole or partial matches. The translations that were previously marked as correct then can then be easily reutilized by anyone working on the project. This is not only saves money by reusing translations you were paid for. Linguists are usually paid by the word, but most importantly, it ensures translations are consistent throughout the text. There are a myriad of ways for text to become corrupted when translating or back translating. The pen and paper method you posted offers no validation and would require a tremendous amount of post editing for anything you and your team worked on to be worthwhile. If you were a professional translator, as you claim to be, you'd know a fewer translators working on a single text, the better, and you wouldn't be using pen and paper. And of course, I think he responds to this a bit further down.
Just down below.
I'm going to see right here. Here we go. So I think this is where we... No. Where does he respond to it?
You're completely correct. He says, these papers are just printed versions of our script. I only use them for personal notes. So,
precisely.
The submission
will be done through a professional platform in a very specific process. And it says it's just random drawing inspired by the script context. I think this is unrelated, but actually, he was on to explain the little flower drawing in the margin. Yeah, some random stuff. How many words have you professionally been assigned? And he answers that like roughly 60,000 words. Each member has a team as a script, and as a group, we have to agree on a final translation. We received the documents in late December with a 2-month deadline.
February drop.
Yeah, so I'm really curious though to wonder here, like this guy's main argument, software, right? Which fair enough, but his reply is that he mainly you're correct, and the papers are just printed versions of our script. I only use them for personal notes.
So he knows what to translate it into, doesn't he?
Yeah, and honestly, you could be like, oh yeah, he's just dodging that. That proves he's fake, right? Yeah, sure. Honestly, at this point, like I wouldn't even believe PIUK, but I think it's just kind of interesting. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, sure, whatever, man. It's just it's just rumors or whatever.
Yeah.
It can all just be nothing. But again, it's very interesting to me. I mean, just think about it, right? It's very interesting though, because I would see this being a thing, right? Printing it out, and then maybe at your free time when you're done translating the other parts, you just get like another version. Like, okay, yeah, I've got a little thingy-jingy. Let me just also translate this a bit, or just look at this personally on my own time. It makes sense also if the guy's leaking stuff. Of course, he would need to get like some genuine paper proof. So getting an actual printed version of it makes sense. Again, I haven't done translations professionally. I've wanted to study for that, that area. But again, I haven't got into it, and I've never, used these programs before. But again, if somebody knows, if somebody knows more about this, if you actually worked on games and translated before, and if you've ever yourself, printed out a version of the stuff as your personal notes just to kind of keep track of things, let us know. But yeah,
totally.
That is the first one. So again, a lot of things here. He does explain also, like, how many people worked on each one of these, and if this made sense. And I think somebody else did respond to that later on, saying that, that sounds like the reasonable amount of, a team would be like, and how that would be worked at. So yeah, I don't know. I mean,
have you noticed something here though? Is that he said here the whole team has 60,000 words. Each member of the team has the same scripts, and as a group, we have to agree on a final translation. We received the document in late December with 2 months deadline. Now, if you think about it like this, when were the localization jobs put up for this next project that they've got going on?
December.
It was just before December. It's about November, right?
It was just before December. Like around this end of November, start of December.
So
it's hard to pinpoint.
So what they do is they hire people at the end of November, start of December. They go through the whole application process. Once they've got their people, they give them the document in late December with the 2 months deadline for February. What happens in February most of the time with these games? In a regular pattern, we've seen quite a lot recently.
Well, they get revealed.
They do an announcement in either February, March, or April, or May. But depending on what...
do remember, this is a mainline new generation.
Yeah.
And for anybody who doesn't know this, in the last 2 generations, being Generation 6 and Generation 7, both those games were revealed in the earliest 2 months.
Yep.
January and February, right?
Exactly.
Both games revealed really early on. Now, why did they do this? Because anybody who doesn't, I mean, again, I've got a lot of people in the comment section like just nagging and all that stuff, just saying, incorrect, just being like, oh, you're wrong. But there needs to be a much larger promotion cycle for a new generation, because again, when you're doing like, let's go, doesn't need as much promotion, right? In terms of like lengthy over the time of the span of a year.
Yeah, precisely.
Promotion. And why does it not need the same amount of promotion? Because it's literally a game that is essentially how would I put this bluntly? It's literally just like Kanto again, right? That's what Let's Go Beach, Let's Go Eevee was. It doesn't need as much promotion, because you just tell people
what it is.
You remember 151 Pokemon? You remember Pikachu, Charizard, Venusaur, Blastoise? You remember those? Guess what? We're making a game like that. We're making a remake of the Kanto you played. It's so easy to sell that to people, and you need way less time to make a promotional cycle for that.
Precisely.
When it's a new generation, though, you're introducing brand new Pokemon. These are Pokemon that people have never seen before. These are Pokemon that people need to get attached to, get excited about. You know what I mean? There is way larger of a span of time needed for that promotion cycle to work out. And this is the same thing they've done ever since we rolled into the 3DS era.
Yeah.
Now we're of course past the 3DS era, we're in the Switch era, so it makes more sense. You need more time to promote your game, especially Pokemon. They've been doing this for a long time. This isn't like a new development where they
no, exactly,
take a long time. They've done it for a while now. Where when it's a new, again, keep in mind when I say this, new generation. Okay, I'm talking about new generations. I'm not talking about old Pokemon games, because usually remakes and like follow-up games,
they're
like
easy to do.
Moon, Emerald and stuff, those games, they need less of a promotion cycle, because they're riding on the coattail of a previous version. Like, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire was a remake of Ruby and Sapphire. So they're riding on the coattail of those games, which means they need less of a promotion, because people already know what's in Ruby and Sapphire. And the same thing goes for something like Ultra Sun and Moon. Ultra Sun and Moon doesn't need that much promotion. Why? Because Ultra Sun and Moon is
Sun and Moon.
With a few changes, so it does not need as much promotion to get its the ball rolling for it. And that's just that's the difference between the new generation games like X and Y, Sun and Moon, literally all the Diamond and Pearl, Black and White, etc. Right? Those need a longer promotion cycle because it's a brand new generation.
Of course,
new Pokemon, new characters, new trainers, new everything. This also at the end of the year when the games are released, also a brand new anime. There's a lot of things that need to get finished off in that year. Like the Sun and Moon anime needs to be first of all finished off, which just went into a brand new arc, by the way.
Which is strange.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Like, you remember, like at the start of this year, we actually talked about, like, dude, like the Sun and Moon anime. There's no way it can run this long, dude.
It's gone on again.
It's for another year, dude. Gonna go for another year. My point is this, though.
That makes sense, though.
This isn't strange. This is totally normal that they would, reveal the game very early on. And again, I'll give you guys a little bit of a hint. There has been stuff being said from within the community, especially with the Mewtwo Strikes Back movie on the way, the Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution movie, having a big connection to Generation 8, and that movie probably getting a reveal in December, according to people that have been mentioning. I think this was mentioned by Paul Rugg mentioned it. Of course, Paul Ryan has been hinting at stuff through the fact that
from merchandise
stuff. Exactly. There's been a lot of stuff that points towards that, and we've also heard from people that, again, there's going to be the trailer for that in this month, most likely. We'll see if that happens. We're not sure yet, but that's probably going to be popping up. So there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be connecting from the movie to Generation 8. So, of course, if you have the movie coming out being shown off, and maybe some new features shown off in that movie for Generation 8, you want to make sure Generation 8 is also revealed soon.
Yeah.
So, again, a lot of things happening. Most likely the reveal will be early. Now, I originally thought it was going to be revealed in, like, May or April, right?
May.
But the more I think about it, it makes more sense to be early because they need more time to promote it.
Definitely.
Way larger promotion cycle. So we've discussed this. I guess now we go to the biggest part. This is the one that will make this video a 30-minute video, right? We're 20 minutes in right now, but this is the one that's going to make it a long video. And this is the biggest one now. So this is going to be a big credit here to Let's Go Zunher here, or Flyer Phoenix. Because this was also found by this original thread here was found by Maikya, so big shout out to him again. Also check out Maikya's channel, by the way. But he found this, so I want you start here, explain what this is. You go ahead and tell them what this is all about.
So I can't remember exactly when it was. It was around March when this tweet was originally made, because this tweet was kind of reacting to that. But I looked at this tweet more so than the actual original source. But this was from PIUK, and he made this diagram that was meant to explain what was going to happen on the Pokemon Switch games, and it wasn't referring to Let's Go, because Let's Go's been and gone, and we know it wasn't to do with that. And this picture it's very cryptic, and obviously we've just spoken about PIUK and how he's a translator, and he's done all this work and that sort of thing, and what he's worked on, he's got things, he's grabbed little bits of information, little snippets of what he's been able to see, and he's now put that into a decrypted image form, for us to have a look at. that's basically what this is. It sounds really weird and it looks really strange, and I'm sure you guys have seen this before if you've watched any of mine and Ruffled's videos on the previous information we've had. But the funny thing is with this is that it's come back to light that this is actually kind of relevant, and it actually links back to the whole thing we've talked about today with the whole cycle. So let's just talk about it. Let's just discuss it now.
Oh, yes. So another thing I want to add in here quickly, actually coming up right now, is because, and I'll try to find this real quick here before we jump further into this video, but as you guys may know, Game Freak recently posted a specific image showing us that they're basically, put it like this, right? They showed us an image which was of a tree and a plus, what was it again?
Plusle and a minin.
Thank you. Also, people keep saying like the way I say minin, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the way I just pronounce it. Again, you guys can keep in mind, English isn't my first language. The way we say Pokemon in Swedish sometimes doesn't sound the way you say it in English because we pronounce words differently. So please stop judging me for the way I say it. I say minin because that's just how it sounds, for me when I speak. But either way, there was a post by Game Freak here, which I'll try to find it and put it on the screen here so you guys can see what we're talking about. But it was a post by Game Freak showing a tree, a Plusle and minin. Minin? Is it? Can I say minin?
You can say minin, you can say minin, I don't mind.
Okay, I'll just say minin because it just...
I'm going to find it too, here we go.
Okay, but here it is. I've got it on the screen so I can show you guys.
Same here.
There's actually two images which I'll open up so you guys can see what we're talking about here. But there's two images and they're definitely worthwhile checking out because these two images is where we connect back to PIUK here because PIUK specifically, like we all assumed that PIUK was talking about Sri Lanka here back in the day, and we'll cover this first of course as well. I have these also here ready for you guys to check out in a second so you guys can understand why we even think PIUK still may be real. It mainly has to do with this right here. This from Game Freak, this image right here. This is what it mainly has to do with, because this shows right here North America and South America, and we know for a fact that the PIUK stuff here does have a connection to America. You got an American flag right there. Showing some sort of travel happening to the two countries. Also, this island here was suggested to perhaps be something like the Bahamas or some sort of island around Central and South America. And there's so many hints. There's so many weird hints right now, which it really confused the living dingus out of me, honestly. But let's actually start reading what's said here on this actual post. There are very interesting things in the new leak of PIUK on Pokemon for Nintendo Switch. Out of the obviousness of the image, I will comment on the following in the thread. So the first thing he does here is the airport, noting traveling to a possible second region. More than traveling to a second region is I see it as a possibility of a DLC expansion pass. Now, this is this guy's own speculation, but what it shows right here is, of course, that there's like Sri Lanka, and you got land, and you got Sri Lanka down here. Again, Sri Lanka is then in south, is it like East Asia or
Southeast Asia?
Yeah, Southeast Asia, right? And again, this is not the only thing, right? Because you guys remember this image right here shows North America and South America. Now, the thing that is really strange about this is not those, but this is another image that's exactly the same thing, but without the tree there. And this was posted earlier in the year from Masuda, and Masuda specifically posted that image. But in that image, it didn't actually show North America or South America. It showed Central Asia or like
Southeast Asia,
Yeah, Southeast Asia, like the central part of it, right? The middle there where the island nations are. And there is also where Sri Lanka is, right? That area is where Sri Lanka is located. So, again, it's so strange. So my question then is, what does America have to do with this? Why is the U.S. there? Will this have to actually be a thing in the game where we'll be able to travel between two regions? It's very strange. But again, let's go back to the actual post right here. So he says here that maybe it's going to be some sort of expansion pass, which I don't think so. No, most likely not. Which should be possible to go to an already known region, or an extra part that will be part of the same region. So. I don't know about that. Now, of course, reference to the USA and Black and White suggests the famous reboot that has been rumored in the 5th gen they tried. We hope that there will be the reboot because they plan to do it in an ideal way. Now, this is something that was also mentioned by the Chinese Riddler. So I have a lot of information in my brain, guys. Chinese Riddler and I think Japanese Riddler said the same.
They both did.
I'm not sure which one of them, though. I always get them confused because, literally, I don't know which one of them.
Chinese Riddler mentioned about a reboot.
There's two Riddlers, though, to put it bluntly, right? But what they said, though, was the Pokemon's going to get a reboot. Now, why would this be possible? Well, guys, notice this recently, guys. All the Pokemon movies recently have had no connections to Sun and Moon. The Pokemon 20, what was it, like the 21st movie? The 21st Pokemon movie had no connection to like Sun and Moon besides
Me and
Pokemon
you.
in it.
Wait, what was it? Everyone's Story. Everyone's Story.
No, yeah, Everyone's Story. Was it? No, that's the other one. No, you're talking about God, there's so many Pokemon movies. Well, no, the Everyone's Story was the one that came out this year.
Yeah, that's 21.
Yeah, that's 22. No, yeah, that's 21. That's 21. Sorry,
22 is the Mewtwo evolution one.
The Power of Us, or Everyone's Story.
Yeah.
That is movie 21. And movie 20 was, what was movie 20 again called?
I can't remember that one. But it wasn't related to Sun and Moon in one bit.
No, it was just Kanto. It was literally just a retelling of Joe's Ash's Kanto journey, but changed like the characters around him and all that.
Yeah.
I think Team Rocket was still there, but like the characters around him, there was no Misty, no Brock, all that. But what this implies is that apparently and clearly the Pokemon company wants to reboot the franchise again in one way or shape, right? They want to reboot the whole thing. Now, why would they want to do that? Because they're closing in at 1,000 Pokemon.
Yeah.
And they've said, apparently in the past, that they do not want to reach 1,000 Pokemon, or if they reach 1,000 Pokemon, that's where, essentially
that's the end of it.
The series will reach its peak in the end.
Yeah.
Also, you guys may have watched the theory from, I think, Loxton and Noggin did a theory about like the Pokemon, the Pokemon universe is kind of following this whole alchemic road, so to say, and like it's using a lot of like mythological things to it. It does. Pokemon does have a lot of mythology into it. They really take a long time to make the games and put a lot of mythology into it, but they are following this kind of like weird ladder, which basically they're now in the final ladder, which would mean that this is also towards the end of the Pokemon franchise and also towards the reboot of the whole franchise, aka the extinction of everything that exists and the rebirth of the whole franchise again.
That would be mental.
I mean, yeah, it would be mental, but again, it's so strange because everything is so obscure. But again, do note, guys, there's clearly been, this is undeniable, there has been a reboot of the Pokemon movies. Have we seen a single Sun and Moon movie yet?
Nope.
No.
Not a single one.
Why? Why have we not seen that? X and Y had movies. Black and White had movies. Diamond and Pearl had movies. Ruby Sapphire had movies.
Yeah.
Gold and Silver, or the Gen 2, Johto had movies. Kanto, of course, had movies. All these other regions had movies, connected with the anime and the generation they were based on. Sun and Moon has not had that. Why? Why has it been this giant reboot now of the movies? With now also we're getting Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. Like, what's the deal with that? You
would have thought with the Ultra Beast they want to make a movie out of the Ultra Beasts.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
Why wouldn't you do a movie about that? There's so much there that can be done. Honestly, think about it. Right? There's so much that can be done there, but you're not doing that. So that really poses the question: what is going on? Why is everything just so strange right now? What is actually happening? So let's continue to the actual post right here. So reference to the USA and Black and White suggests the famous reboot that has been rumored. In the 5th gen, they tried. We hope that there will be a reboot because they have planned it in an ideal way. Yeah. Now, I would love this. I know people hate Black and White, but I think that them rebooting the franchise would be perfect the way they did it in Black and White. Yeah. Now, of course, listen. When I say reboot, I'm not talking about them just shitting out a game with bad Pokemon. I want this next generation of games to have really good Pokemon designs. But if they make a full-on reboot of the franchise again and do the same thing that Black and White did, which was, you can only catch a Pokemon until you complete the game, right? I would love that because
it'd be great.
Personally, I want that. Other people, I get it. If you don't want that, I understand. They can still probably do something where it's a reboot, but they still include other Pokemon as well. They can do that. But again, personally, I would love to see just a brand new Pokemon generation, with just the new Pokemon in there. And once you complete it, they give you access to other Pokemon from Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5, etc., right? That, I think, would be a good way to go about it. But
totally.
Again, we don't know what's going to happen yet. So that is the first thing that they mentioned right there. Now, let's go to the next thing here, which is the city shown confirms that Sri Lanka will be the base of the region. A city where the past and the future come together within the same city. The capital of Sri Lanka is Colombo, known as the New Hong Kong. Wow, that is... Damn, I've never heard of that before.
Yeah.
The Montana could be the reference to Altair Peak, one of the most awarded buildings in the world, which is this weird building right here, which, I mean, this is strange. It looks like 2 buildings crashing into each other, which I think I'm not sure if that's referring to, but I guess the city down here...
It's the mountain. It's the mountain on the picture, and it's a building in Sri Lanka, I believe.
I see. So then it says evolution, again, a pair, monsoons, meteorological phenomenon of a strong wind are very common in Sri Lanka and India. Landslides are very common in Sri Lanka. EV top of a rock and earth being effective against that type. Also, I don't know if you guys have seen this. Let me actually pop this up on the screen here if I can get my hands on it real quick. There's actually a weird reference in the Pokemon anime, the Sun and Moon anime, actually, hinting at a potential. Again, listen, like, keep in mind what I'm saying here. Potential bug type evolution coming our way. Again, only a hint. We don't know if it's actually for real. Yeah, literally, dude. I was so confused when I saw it. I'll see if I can find it here. But again, if you want to read the rest of it stuff, what I'm looking for, just you can do that real quick.
Yeah, of course.
I think we were on that landslide part, so see what happens beyond that while I try to find this for the viewers.
Yeah. So next we've got the snake in Sri Lanka is one of the most deadly species. So this is talking about the two snakes, the good snake and the bad snake you see on the little leak thing. And the bite of the one found in Sri Lanka is deadly in the highest percentage. As a curiosity, the pain of the bite takes a month to disappear after produced. So it's talking about the snakes. This is the thing, though, is that PIUK didn't tell us where it was, and he put an American flag. But if we look next, you go down and you see the little tuk-tuks, the little Sri Lankan taxis, and that is in the PIUK image. So why has he got North America here in one part, but yet he's using the tuk-tuks from Sri Lanka as a transport system, like showing those as a transport system for the main island? It doesn't really make sense, it doesn't really link. And further down here, we've got reference to balloons floating in a balloon over the cultural triangle of Sri Lanka at sunrise, one of the main tourist attractions in Sri Lanka. So up at the top in the image, we have got... Where is it? It's just somewhere in this image. There's something to do with flying above.
Right there, the freaking celebration, like the orange ones. Yeah, that's what he's referring to. Now I can't find the Eevee thing. And just buried underneath like a ton of other messages I've gotten. But if I'm able to find the Eevee thing, I will send you ways to see it. But it definitely holds a lot of intrigue to me because honestly. It looks really strange that they would be doing like this whole reference to, I mean, literally a reference to freaking to a bug type evolution, and then be like, oh, but that's not a thing, like all laughing at it, like, yeah, you're being a little bit strange right now. I don't know if I want to trust you right now. What's going on? This is very odd. Again, can't seem to get. Oh, I found it actually. Just found it.
Got it.
Yep, cool. I just found it. I'll put it on the screen here so that everybody can see it, so you guys can know what we're talking about. So again, let me pop this up real quick. You guys can see this. Sorry for not having all this here, but things gonna pop into my head as I'm talking. So here it is, guys. So basically, what it says here is this is supposed to sent to me by Jackson 556D on Twitter, aka Steelix. But this man just sent me this. Oh shit! They just teased a bug type evolution, and here's what it says. Right? Basically, it's like a little Eevee, and they said here, what should I evolve Marin into? And then they are splashing around the water, and it says, I'm thinking of evolving it into a bug type. And then right here, just kidding. A really obscure, like, just kidding. Like, what is this, dude? What is...
Just kidding. It's not the fact they said, oh, wait, it doesn't evolve into a bug type.
Yeah, it literally doesn't even say that it doesn't evolve into that.
It just says, just kidding.
It doesn't even say that it isn't a thing. It just literally... Because that's what I remember, like, I thought it would say. But literally, it even says, just kidding. That's even more... strange, in all honesty. So again, really obscure, really weird. I don't know what to say about that, but let's continue through down the list because we're going for about 35 minutes now, dude. It's been a long time. So okay, the final one here is winged snake. Another type of winged serpents are Amphithera. They would have a form quite similar to Quetzalcoatl. Jeez, this is such a hard freaking name to say. But this is actually these weird snake things are actually also they also exist similarly in South America.
Yeah, South and Central America, yeah. Where the Mayans and Aztecs were.
Exactly. So, again, I have another theory coming about these, potentially... Because it was sent to me by a viewer who had a big theory about this. Gigantic, which I'll cover, but it's going to be a long one, so you guys are going to have to wait for a little bit for that one to get, or rather me organizing up the information, because I've been sent just a ton of information. I just got to organize it all and put it into a video format. But what I say here though is like although smaller, its territory would cover far from the Near East to India. Its bite is very poisonous, although not as much as that of a basilisk. And then of course I don't know what else happens down here, but
that's about it.
That's about it, guys. So that covers most of the stuff in here. Of course there is other stuff. It says something here like brothers plot twist. Collect lights so to ensure nutrients of abyss creatures. Cooperative spirit personification. Needs rare Pokemon eggs as a tribute. Inner strength personification. You know, the whole plane trip here. You can see an island over there, and then the island here. You know, the plane trip taking you over.
Yep.
The good snake, the bad snake, 2 different snakes. It's just very strange. Like, it's just so many things to this, man. And this would be the final part for this video, guys. So I guess the final thing we have to say here, guys, is please don't go all just, you know, like, oh,
ham.
This
Don't go
that,
crazy.
Whatever. Yeah, don't go too ham on this, you know, on us rather. Because again, guys, it's just something fun we do. It's enjoyable. It's fun. It's, you know,
it's great fun.
Part of my job to kind of cover these things and just kind of, you know, it just theorize, you know, speculate. It's fun. It's fun. And also, you know, it's part of my little job over here to do that. And I hope you guys do enjoy these videos. And I hope you do enjoy this video. Of course, check out Maikya and all that. And I guess, Maikya, I want to just hear your thoughts, man. What do you feel about this? Do you think PIUK makes sense? Having all these things now from Game Freak as well. And also, again, before we get into that conversation, guys, please remember, you may not believe that this means anything. You may be like, oh, yeah, it's just a picture from Game Freak. Who cares? You know, that's not important. Please remember, this is Game Freak we're talking about. Masuda literally hinted at Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee with tweets.
Yeah.
He hinted at
cryptic.
How? By literally leaving numbers in Pokemon Go of this incense. He literally said, like, showed us the day when the reveal for Let's Go was going to happen. What happened that day? It actually happened. It was real.
Yep.
They leave these messages.
They are cryptic. They do it on purpose.
They really do it. So please remember that just because, you know, like, to you may sound ludicrous, it really isn't all the time. It really isn't. Of course, PIUK could be BS. Let's be honest, right? PIUK could be BS. He could just be messing around. We haven't seen him in ages now. We haven't heard anything from him. I haven't heard anything from PIUK in a long amount of time. But again, a lot of the stuff PIUK says here, PIUK said here, also connects to what was said in the plus and minus
leaks,
you know, Pokemon plus and minus leaks or rumors from back in 2014, and those rumors make so much sense. You know, I mean, those rumors made so much sense to what we actually got in the future with the Switch coming up and being a thing before the Switch was even conceived in our brains of being an actual possibility, right? So there's a lot of the connections here. There's a lot of the stuff like that. So I want to hear just a final thing from you, my boy Maikya. What do you think, man? Like, what are your thoughts? Do you think PIUK might have something here? Do you think this may be worth pursuing? Do you think this may have some connections? What are your thoughts, man? Give me your best shot. What do you think?
I think that this isn't the last time we're going to hear from him. Not as a kind of, you know, him posting on a forum. I don't think he will. He might do. I don't know. But I don't think this is the last time we'll revisit this. I definitely think that there's a possibility this will come again in the future, nearer to the time. And I do believe that he totally links to plus and minus, like you just said. But what I find interesting is that neither plus or minus from 2014, 4 years ago, and PIUK from literally, like, what was it, like last year, year before? Neither...
No, this year. Literally this year.
Was it this year? Right, okay.
Yeah.
Neither have been debunked. No one has said for a second, hold on a minute, this guy, blah, blah, blah. No one said anything. No, normally someone puts a fake star in and then someone comes out of the gutter and says, hey, this was me all along. And everyone's like, oh, right, nice, you know, nice one, nice fake starters or whatever. This hasn't happened for these leaks. That no one knows. No one has an idea of who's done this and whether it's true or false. We have no idea. And that's what's so believable about it, is because it's not been debunked. It's proven true until proven false, essentially. I think that's all I've got to really say about it, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think that kind of summarizes most of it, you know, in general terms. I think that kind of puts it into perspective. So, again, I want to ask you guys as the viewers, what do you think this would be real, fake, all that stuff?
Yeah.
Do you think PIUK has any validity? Do you think any of this could be potentially real? Again, keep in mind, guys, this is all speculation and rumors. Please don't just get, you know, start a turf war in the comment section or get angry. Because again, ain't nobody forcing you to watch this. This is all just a discussion.
Yeah, of course.
That's why this ended up being a 40-minute video. It's a big discussion, right?
It's great.
There's meant to be discussion videos. So yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching though. Leave a like down below if you did enjoy it. Subscribe and all that. Check out Maikya as well. I'll link his channel down below, guys. Check him out. He does a lot of rumor stuff as well, a lot of news videos and leaks and all that stuff. So do check him out, guys. Either way, thanks so much for watching. And yeah. Let us know in the comment section, guys. Yeah. What do you think about this? Do you think PIUK has some sort of, you know, do you think something, what PIUK said here might have some validity? Let us know in the comment section down below, and have a day, ladies and gentlemen. And bye-bye.
See you soon.